A very prominent male gymnast has just received a 16-month doping violation suspension from the USADA without having ever tested positive for any banned substance. So let's talk about how that happened. Also, I do have the flu right now, so I'm sorry about my voice. This is about Yul Moldauer, who is a longtime member of the U.S. national team, has competed on many international assignments for Team USA, and also has been a very competitive gymnast at the University of Oklahoma. Yul has just been suspended for 16 months by the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, not for testing positive for a banned substance, but for having 3 whereabouts violations. Now let's talk about what that means. Now, I had to do some research on this myself because I wasn't very familiar with it. And from what I understand, when athletes are actively competing like this and have to follow the USADA rules, they have to provide every single day a 1-hour window where they can guarantee where they will be in case they are going to be random drug tested that day. Apparently, the way a lot of athletes do this is they will say every day at 7 a.m., I am going to be at my home. They will pick a time where they can guarantee where they're going to be because they will have just woken up or something like that. The USADA has a 3 strikes and you're out type of system where if you miss 3 tests, 3 of these random tests, you are automatically suspended for a violation, even if you have not tested positive for a substance. And Yul Moldauer did miss 3 tests. For 2 of these tests, he was actually at competitions where he took a drug test at the competition and passed it. However, that doesn't count because it has to be a USADA drug test, and he failed to update his whereabouts while he was at those competitions. Then for the 3rd violation, he was not at a competition, but he was 45 minutes away from where he said he was going to be, and so he did miss that test as well. And so because of missing those 3 tests, it was 3 strikes and you're out, and he is now suspended for 16 months from competing. This has brought up a lot of discourse online for gymnastics fans, and there are kind of 2 schools of thought that are happening right now. The first one is that these rules are archaic and place too many expectations on the athlete and that it's unfair. The second school of thought is that Yul Moldauer has been an internationally competitive gymnast for a very, very long time and ought to have known better. I personally think it's honestly probably a combination of the 2. It does seem a little bit unreasonable to me, who is not an internationally competitive athlete, that athletes have to provide their whereabouts every single day of the year. But again, Yul Moldauer has been competing internationally for a very long time and ought to have had a handle on this. And to be fair, he did, in a statement he put out on Instagram, take complete responsibility for this failure. So that's kind of the cliff notes on this case. He is again now suspended for 16 months. There's a lot of discussion happening about whose fault it is and if the rules should change. He did take complete responsibility for it, and once again, he did not test positive for any banned substance. He simply failed to take 3 random drug tests.